Before Mayor Newsom was elected, he successfully pandered to the left with grandstand efforts like gay marriage. He had appealed to the conservative votership with his controversial program to eradicate homelessness, called Care Not Cash. It's unclear how effective this program has been, but one thing is clear. The taxpayers of SF have stopped writing monthly checks of up to $400 to its most needy. Before Care Not Cash, all an addict in Alameda or San Mateo counties had to do to get a $300 a month raise was to step over the San Francisco county line.
It's $13.
People forget that conservative voters like those in the Richmond district did backflips up Geary Boulevard when Care Not Cash catapulted the handsome boy candidate into the mayor's office. And oh, how the progressive hurled invective at Newsom during his contentious mayoral campaign with the lefty favorite Matt Gonzalez. A race, I might interject, that your humble tour operator was in the thick of until financial ruin and some dirty political tricks by an unnamed opponent let the steam out of his political machine. I digress. During that election of 2002, Newsom was labeled by progressives as a pawn of the downtown money interest and an outright fascist for his views on homelessness. After a first term filled with scandal and personal fiascos, the boy mayor has shown a slickness and character rivaled only by the slickness of his hair. Newsom's re-election is a slam dunk, as he runs unopposed by progressives who have yet again failed to answer the bell, and conservatives who have been crippled by the Ed Jew debacle. Funny how a photo op with a guy in a wedding gown can clean up your image in San Francisco.
Care Not Cash provided room and board to many of the homeless in San Francisco. But thousands of the homeless did not meet the criteria, which stressed that there were no drugs or alcohol in a city bed. These are the guys who remain on the city streets. San Francisco's famed polo field. Since the stables closed, equestrian events are never held here. Yet every kid and every soccer mom has kicked it on this pitch. In a homeless encampment under a grove of eucalyptus trees over there at 10:30 a.m. in the morning of September 4th, the corpse of Ramiro Marcel Herrera was found by police, stabbed repeatedly to death. Herrera was well known to police as a habitual petty offender, a drug addict, a panhandler in the hate. His murder is still being investigated. Fifth and Mission, home of the San Francisco Chronicle. About the time of the murder in the polo fields, sports writer turned bon vivant C.W. Nevius started a column in the Chronicle about the situation of homelessness in San Francisco. Nevius, along with his publisher, Sharon Stone's ex-main squeeze, Phil Bronstein, decided to push a few of Frisco's hot buttons and enjoy a temporary spike in circulation. Yeah, in the typical style of the yellow journalism that has always been the trademark of the Chronicle, Nevius continued his story on the homelessness problem by featuring Golden Gate Park. He liberally peppered the media with dirty syringes, defecation, whatever sensationalistic prose he could invent to stereotype the homelessness in the park. Predictably, tempers flared between the homeless and the homeowners in the Richmond district. The third fatal stabbing occurred in the desolate outer reaches of Golden Gate Park, near the innocuous corner of 47th. October 16th, the year 2007, residents of the outer Richmond were awakened to the screams of 29-year-old ex-bar bouncer Brian Austin. Austin had been living on the Lincoln side of the park for 11 years. Now he was out in the street, a bloody mess, suffering from neck and head wounds. Unfortunately, Austin died before he was able to give police an adequate description of his attacker or attackers.
3 stabbings.
Brian
Austin?
He was part of our family. He was young and I don't know why it had to happen, you know. But I'm not gonna let that put me in fear either. You know, I mean, I don't walk around here by myself, so to speak, but I'm not gonna let that scare me, you know, put me in fear of people, because if you do that, you're gonna constantly be looking at yourself all the time, and you're not gonna be able to be at peace at all.
As a long-time observer of the San Francisco crime scene, I can state with assurance that the eastern end of Golden Gate Park, near the Haight-Ashbury, has always spawned more than its share of mayhem. From the drug-riddled days of the Summer of Love, to the 80s child disappearance of Kevin Collins, to the early stages of Leonard Lake and Charles Ng's killing spree, unspeakable crimes have occurred here. As stated earlier, the region's attraction to runaways, addicts, and homeless has played a factor in the lack of public outcry and police enforcement to these atrocities. Is there a home-owning vigilante fed up with the drug-infested tribes running amok in the park? Was the Chronicles Homeless series a catalyst that triggered this vigilante movement? Or is there a serial killer amongst the homeless preying upon those of his kind? Have these recent killings been random acts of violence spurred on by a ready availability of illegal and city-supplied drugs and the needles with which to inject them? In a city known for tolerant juries and an abysmal prosecution rate at the hands of its ineffective yet lovely DA, it's likely to happen again. And there's always another crime just around the corner.